Hey, so this is my review of the dream weekend that I just came back from with the Global Information Network. This one was hosted in Orlando. This was my first time going to an event with the Global Information Network, and it was my first time going to a conference on my own in the first place. So, honestly, I was a little bit nervous. Not even a little bit nervous. I was like hecka nervous. Anxious and excited because I was going to a whole new state alone with people that I've never met before. I have met some of them on like our virtual meetings, but there was no way that I could have been prepared for what I actually experienced. And I'll get into that. So part of it was, I'm looking to live a higher quality of life. I'm looking to have my best possible experience. And as they say, in order to be what you've never been before, you have to do what you've never done before. So I know that from practical application of the basic principles that are taught, like the reading and the audios and just being very mindful about what we ingest and the content that I'm consuming, I knew that at least what I had been applying was working. And so I felt comfortable enough to take that leap of faith, and I had enough courage to say, well, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I figured the absolute worst thing, because of the way I'm vibrating, the absolute worst thing that could have happened in that space was that I would have just had a great vacation by the pool. And to me, honestly, in Florida, I can live with that, okay? I could totally live with just going down there for a couple days and having a vacation by the pool, which I was able to do. And though, oh my gosh, without revealing, like the meat and potatoes, because that's not my MO, but I could never have expected what I actually got from that experience over this past weekend. Honest to God, universe, whatever you want to refer to it as, I could have never prepared myself, because everyone was so gracious and so welcoming, and like it's really like one of those things that you just have to like experience. But to put it in words, the people are so friendly. Like we're used to in like to typical society, if there's already a group of people like sitting down in a circle, you don't just walk up to their conversation and start going in. So that's something I want to work on, is having more courage to like just interject. Like next time I attend, just like getting in that conversation, But everyone was so welcoming. I got so many hugs. And like, I love a good hug. I'm like super, super affectionate. So that was so nice. I have like the best hugs and like the best people. Like, I'm not even lying. Like in this world that we're in with like the masses, sometimes it's difficult, especially earlier on in your evolutionary journey. And I've been evolving for years now. So I can only imagine, like, now that I'm tapped into another source of energy and mind power, I can only imagine how far this will go. With that being said, there were so many like unexplainable synchronicities that were happening, and everyone that you speak to is open-minded and thinks similarly and has an additional golden nugget of knowledge and information to pass on to you that you might not have known before. And everyone wants to introduce you to the next person. And like me, I like, depending on where I'm at, like if I'm the new person, I feel like I have to be introduced. I'm not at the point yet, and I'm learning to get there. I'm not at the point yet where I'll just like enter into a conversation, that I'm not introduced to, or not like obviously welcomed into that space, because of my past, and I felt like for the first time around a bunch of people, I did not have to reshape my personality to fit. For example, I used to do a lot of things. Like I used to be a cheerleader, dancer, like a laundry list of things. And in each of those situations, and I'm not throwing any shade on anything, I appreciate these experiences. And it was a different time. But in many of those things, I always felt like, okay, this is gonna be my group. This is gonna be my sisters. This is gonna be my bros. And I have had that. So don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. But just really listen to what I'm saying. I felt like this is gonna be the people that bada boom, bada bang, bada bang. And it always like ended up like I would say something that they didn't necessarily bang with, or it didn't really make sense, and so then it would become like the butt of the joke sometimes, or like, oh, you know, there she go again, or like she talks too much, or she's just so big, like she's so extra, she has so much personality, she's just so loud, so extra, so this, so that, and it makes you like. So I went through a phase where I've just been like detaching, you know, and just being in that like lonely space, to be frank, of like, okay, well, obviously this isn't working, and not like saying that I don't love those people or I don't have mass affection or a place in my heart from them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, though, I realized that in order to get what I want out of life, I had to separate myself from certain energies. It just is what it is. And so I've been in a space where there was like a void, like, okay, well, now that I have this empty space, this emptiness for a while and some change, what happens next? So long story short, I was on YouTube, and then there are like things that just like pop into my head, or like when some people say something, it rings longer than normal. So I was watching this lady on YouTube, and she was just talking about all of these speakers that have helped her in her evolutionary journey of herself. And so she was just naming, listing, and then she said Kevin Trudeau. And for some reason, like, of all the names, and I can't even remember the other name she said, but that specific name, just like phrases kind of stick with me. That specific name stuck with me. And so I was like, okay, who is this Kevin Trudeau? Like, who is this guy? So I found him on YouTube, and then he was talking about like, you know, everyone needs a group. It was definitely like a sales conversation I think he was having, because it's just has like a brilliant sales spirit. However, you know, like the sugar honey iced tea he was saying was like, it was hitting, it was on point. So I was like, you know what, let me just like, and he's like, oh, and I have a group, like you can join my group. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna join this group. So I joined the group, and then I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, you know, at like a real beginner level. And so I'm like, I'm like, and I believe in like, I can learn from every single thing. Excuse me. And I'm always listening. So it was like, okay, well, make sure you're reading. Make sure you're doing this. Make sure you're doing that. So I started reading every day. And I was like, I have an obsessive personality. And I also am a recovering prideful person. That's important for later in the story. You're about to find out why. So I'm like, there's like hours and hours of material to look at. So I'm listening, and then it's like lunchtime, and I like come back to it, and like half the training's gone. I was like, what the F? I thought something was wrong with my account. And so I'm like, what happened? Like, I'm like literally right in the middle of a video, and like everything just vanished. I was like, so then that kind of like, cause I just felt like, what in the world, you know, like at any moment you can just take the training, and like there was no notice. I'm just being honest. I'm just the truth. This is how I felt, and this is what happened. And like all of a sudden there was like it was like half the training was just vanished. And so I messaged, and I'm like, yo, like something wrong with my account. Like this is not, the math isn't mathing. So what happened? And then, they like responded like, oh, well, you know, apparently all the information was too overwhelming for people, so we took stuff away. And I'm like, you couldn't have, and I'm like, so where's my, like, you couldn't have given me like a 2-week notice or something? Like, couldn't have prepared me? Because it was literally like 1 hour it was there, and then the next hour it was gone. There was no notice. And so that rubbed me the wrong way. And so I was like, okay, now, and I still was like, you know, I'm still gonna go to Florida, because I do know that everything happens for a reason. And though that rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not even gonna lie, because I was raised on principle, and it's just like, how you gonna, just like give me all that and then take it away before I even get to finish it, or not even tell me that this is about to happen. It's like being fired, and they don't even give you like what is that thing called? But one of them plans, like once you get fired, they don't even like give you like a 2-week check or like a notice to get you together, a probationary period. It's just like boom, it's gone. So, I mean, but it is what it is. And I'm not at that space behind the scenes to know like what went through their mind when they made that decision or whatever. So whatever. But, that did rub me the wrong way. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going anyway. I'm not going to let this particular thing stop me. But I did like take a break from the training because I was annoyed. If I'm being frank, I was annoyed. But I did not stop the principles. Now, a week leading up to the event, I don't know, I was just feeling like heavy emotions. So I wasn't reading that week. I was just like, and then like someone yelled at me, and I don't do yelling, I don't do arguments. This is not my vibe. Ugh, disgusting. So, I was just like, just not in the right, I don't know what was going on. I think I was just also so ready to go. You sometimes, like when you're about to have a good time, because regardless, I knew I was going to be in Florida. I knew I was going to be by the pool. I knew I was going to be somewhere hot. So that was and so I was just like, oh my gosh, that week before was dragging so slow. And so then I get there and, we have to dress business, in business attire in the actual sessions. So I just assumed, because from the events that I've been at where I had to dress businessy, it was very stuffy, very much just sitting there, very stuffy. So without revealing, all of these things, I'll just really speak high level on my personal experience, but I'm not gonna give away what happened in the sessions or anything like that, because I personally wouldn't want someone to do that to me. And I feel like that might ruin your experience if you want to do it later. But I just say 10 out of 10, highly recommend. So I get there and then we're in our business attire. So I'm just automatically assuming okay, this is gonna be a little bit stuffy. But I also didn't know what to expect. So I was just open-minded. But I could not have expected sing-along. Okay, I could not have expected the sing-along to occur. There was no way I could have known that was going to happen. I could not have expected that the guy I was sitting next to on the plane was also not next to one over. I'm here and the one dude is literally right next to me. I'm in the window seat, he's in the aisle. I mean, in the middle seat, then there's someone in the aisle seat. I could not have anticipated or expected that guy was going to be in the program, and we ended up running into each other. I could not have expected the amount of serendipitous, quote unquote random, I'm learning to be better with my words, so serendipitous experiences that occurred. I could not have anticipated that we were going to be singing and dancing. Now, I do wish an even better if would be if after we had the banquet, if we really did have a dance, time to dance and have some more drinks and things like that. But I'm sure there's a reason why they did that. But I was I was feeling good, so I just knew it was gonna be dancing, but we didn't. But it was fine. We danced during the session, but I wish that after the banquet we actually danced. So it was multiple days with different sessions and different things like that. And honestly, it was just such a magical experience. And it was something that I've never experienced anything like that before. I've never, with a group of strangers, and I don't even want to use the word strangers, because every single person that I spoke to actually and had a conversation with, for the most part, I'm not going to say literally every single person, but for the most part, 90% of the people that I spoke to there, it felt like I already knew them. It wasn't and the conversations we were having weren't they were surface, okay, well, hey, where are you from, blah, 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 blah. How long have you been in the program, this and the third. But it was once we got past the small talk and got an energy transfer, an initial scan, I guess, it was I knew these people before, and I was feeling in some levels I was in the future and in the current time. I don't know how else to describe that. I felt I was on stage, and when we were clapping, I felt people were clapping for me. It was weird. It was weird, and it also was so cool to see someone doing something that I want to do, because my best experiences are when I help other people get to wherever they're trying to go. And I've always been that way. Like, of course I have my own personal things, like this channel that I created, and like different things that I'm creating. And though, you know, I want to be the person like years from now that people are thanking in their speeches, because like Jan helped me reach X, Y, and Z, and like that's why I'm here today. You know, I want to be the person that's, you know, coming in and scooping people out the mud and helping them wash off and helping them see their ultimate potential and all that. So to be to see like someone who people attribute like KT, for example, it was awe-inspiring. And also I felt like, okay, like I got to see what the future can be. I got to see, smell, touch, sense, and be in that environment. And then to hear how many people are living their current lives, like, was just amazing. And even with my quote unquote big dreams that I thought were big, I realized I won't dream at all ish. You know, now I know like my big dream won't really that large. Like I'm shooting for the moon and the stars when I could be shooting for a whole nother galaxy, a whole nother universe, a whole nother realm, a whole nother dimension, a whole nother being. Like the possibilities that I now aspire to, no, like for real though, like, you feel me? So honestly, like, yeah, it was so transformative. And then what I also realized is like, as hard as I thought I was going, even though like I said, like the week up leading up to the weekend, I was not going very hard. I was just like, you know, trying to get in the mind space to be ready to travel, go somewhere new. I was also very nervous and like, because, you know, the whole like trafficking people thing is happening too. So I, you know what I'm saying? I was just like a little bit like, okay, like it's just gonna go, just see what happens. And, you know, it was like a time to remember, like seriously. And I realized also that even with the effort that I used to be putting in, I can put in even more. There's something about like seeing people really commenting on books, you know, not the latest GTO episode or GOT, episode or whatever, the latest gossip in whatever realm or whatever space, and like just people being so immersed in their dreams, so immersed in like positive books and positive experiences, and like no one was complaining. Like, of course there were things that I wish that they did, like dancing after the banquet, for example, because I love to dance. And you know, I just love that kind of vibe. So there were things that I was like, man, I wish we got to do this or and like things that could be improved upon because I feel like everything can be improved. You know, like the usability of the website is the website is not the most user friendly in the world. It's a little bit confusing. So, you know, having a little bit more of a easier easier user experience where things are a little bit more refined on the website, I think would be cool as well. But you know, that might be intentional, because like if you want to find information, you have to be like dedicated to even get to where the information is, you know. But I'm very inquisitive, so like by the time I spoke to like the coach that was like supposed to like walk me through how to use the website, I had already figured it out, because I was like, as soon as I get started, I'm like all up in it. So I kind of like, I already knew how to use the website, but just in general, like it's not the most user-friendly website in the world. And that's just what it is. However, it has so much information. Like I said, maybe it's purposeful because you have to have like dedication to even get to the information on the site. So I guess that would like weed out people. I don't know. But in general, I would like it from my standpoint and where I'm currently seated for the user experience to be a little bit more easy to navigate on the website. And I would have liked to have some dancing. But like I said, it was a great experience. Honestly, like 10 out of 10. There's always going to be room for improvement. And I feel like if we act like there's not, then we're not growing. And I felt like, and this is like one late, I don't want to say like anyone's names because I didn't like ask anyone for their permission. So I was going to say this one person that I met, I was like, I didn't realize how long the Global Information Network had been established because like I just learned about it like a couple months ago, and then I just like joined a couple months ago, and then I am here like like I haven't even been in this club for 4 months, and I just like it's this month is April. I joined in February, so I've been in this club for 2 months. Not even 2 months because this is like the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been 2 months, and I took the leap of faith to go to this event 2 months after I joined this club. So that's pretty crazy. But honestly, like I'm so thankful that I did it, and I'm just excited to see what happens from this. And I was telling this one woman, like I felt like I was late to the party. Now I feel like, but I'm here, but I started to feel like I was a little bit late because I was like, how do all these people know about this? But then she said, you're not late to the party. You're never late to the party. You're always right on time. Mic effing drop. There were so many, like every single conversation I had with every single person, for the most part, was a mic drop moment. So highly recommend. See you next time.